to another opportunity, 4 more games for all our respective groups to show us what they've got and who will be those teams to lock in those absolutely insane points. That, I mean, yesterday they got off to a pretty strong start. But we are yet to see one of our Pmnc, semi-finalist teams actually secure themselves a decent finish and get that winner chicken dinner.
I mean, that's the one thing we've been waiting for since yesterday. You know, we saw 5 games yesterday. We saw a couple of teams come close, at least to the winner chicken dinner, get into second place, third place. But unfortunately, the Pmnc semi-finalists not quite able to just put in that final piece of the puzzle that they need to get the winner chicken dinner. And that's something that I'm looking forward to seeing today as we go into the second day of the finals.
Well, of course, having said all of that, right, we'd love to hear what our viewers are thinking. And of course, I mean, what better way to do it than hitting us up on social media? We'll be showing all those links down below the screen momentarily. But of course, as we know, there's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's TikTok. I mean, take your pick. There's even Facebook where you can hit us up. I think I've said that already. But of course, you know, we just need to double down on all these different platforms to see where the teams can secure themselves. But of course, here they are, right? In case you wondered. So we've got the PUBG Mobile Africa side. We've got the MENA side. And that is, of course, on the majority of the platforms. So we just had YouTube. Now we have a bit of that Instagram showing there. Of course, followed up by Facebook. And then TikTok will be right after that one. So be sure to tag us, right? Let us know what your thoughts are. Who do you think is going to be the team to sit at the top of the log at the end of today's matches? And of course, there's going to be quite a bit of excitement that I believe they have in store for us.
Yeah, and you know, one thing that we've been seeing from yesterday was how these teams have been playing. And given the way these teams are playing, I'm pretty sure it would have caught the attention of some of the people that are watching back home. And I'm pretty sure everyone now has who they're probably supporting. So yeah, be sure to hit us up and let us know who you're supporting. In case you missed some of the action yesterday, here are some of the highlights that we saw. And you know, as DK was saying, we were not quite able to see any of those Pmnc teams, step up to the board. But I've just got to say, Team GQ. Oh, they were on fire yesterday. 2 winner chicken dinners, highest kill count, highest points. Man, these guys are on something else.
Yeah, and of course, speaking about something else, right, let's take a look at those highlights from yesterday again, just to see what is going on, just to remind our viewers of the beautiful PUBG action we saw. And I mean, this is what makes me so excited about what we could have come through today, right? Because the teams have now had the opportunity to get a good feel as to what they could be receiving out on that battlefield. And of course, just a few snippets coming through out of that. I mean, game 1, surprisingly enough, right, was not as cautious as we would have thought it would be, right? Instead, the teams decided to, get down to business way sooner than we actually anticipated.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the teams coming from the PNPL, they came in with so much action and so much force. Like, it was almost like they did not want to give any other person a breathing chance as we saw them go all out. I mean, Blackjack Esports getting started in that first game was just out of this world, and Team GQ doing the same. And then we headed straight into Miramar where we started seeing 90th minute, ride the whole lobby with the huge experience that he had in hand. So yeah, it was pretty much a show of experience and a show of skill yesterday, and which is something that I enjoyed. So today we actually want to see both sides of the coin practice and show us exactly what they're able to do.
Yes, sir. Quite a bit of excitement indeed. But as we know, right, we want that by the bucket loads come today. I mean, even looking at the kind of push that we had come through over on towards Sanok, right? The teams definitely looked to get quite aggressive. But I think it was once we hit the second Miramar, that's where we really started to see a little bit more of that confidence starting to come through from the teams, right? And that's kind of right on point as we were expecting it, right? Those first 3 games, that's where they still look to kind of just iron out a few bumps. But then we jumped up into Erangel, and this is where stuff just got real, right? It just, everybody just went to town. I mean, it took a minute to get into the action, but once it started, right, there wasn't much to stop these teams.
Yeah, and when we got to that final Erangel, it was a matter of everybody knowing that good position they wanted to be as of phase 4, but still worried about the next phase, because at that point that was all there was to worry about. Teams that were very much settled in that phase 4 were not so settled in phase 5, and that's where it started to get really crazy, with that very intense ending that we had, seeing Brute Force not win the winner chicken dinner, but especially for teams like Stalwarts, UAE, who would like to land on the military island, and it's probably going to be like a whole disadvantage to them starting off the game in this manner.
Yeah, it's going to be a whole different ball game, especially as you've pointed out, right? The flight path being where it is. But what I want to see is like what the teams are going to be doing in anticipation of this first initial zone, right? We don't know where it is just yet, and neither do the players, but they are going to be finding out momentarily as that plane is about to cross on through. But we see a really decent, healthy distribution of teams, a lot of focus instead now being put towards that southern side, and rightly so, as that is exactly where the zone itself is going to be moving. So yeah, a big chunk of the zone is going to be water, so already playing on quite a bit of reduced playable area here.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like there's something about, I like the fact that the zone is a military island zone, or it could be a military island zone. It has the potential. But, you know, I feel like these teams have done something to the water gods, because it does look like every single game there is a huge chunk of water. I mean, we saw that come through yesterday on the 3 different maps, and today we're seeing that happen once again. Hot drops was not something we really saw yesterday, but it does look like we'll be getting a couple of stranglers here today as X team find themselves in a little bit of a skirmish with Stalwart Esports. And I can see this happening because Stalwart Esports, they would prefer to land on the military island, right? But then, given that the military island is not close, Gatska happens to be their secondary drop. And, well, their secondary drop is X team's main drop. Now X team suffered the wrath of Stalwart UAE. And I don't think there was a way they might have figured that one out. But this is not looking like a great start for X team.
Yeah, man. But the answer here that I have for Stalwart is why not? Right? Why not just peer out the window, get that hit in, and take a team on down? But now I don't know if Pumba is somewhere around here as well. But either which way, it is going to be some pressure coming through onto the X team. As Stalwart, I mean, they proved themselves yesterday to be a super capable team. So well done to them, being able to hold on to this terrain, right?
That is actually a very confident move coming through from them. And I'm kind of pained that they would do that. And it almost looks like X team is replicating their drop spot as they look to be heading towards the military island early.
Well, let's see what is going to be on the cards here. Oh, it is going to be Wave now, just trying to make their way on. Looking to see what they can find up in towards our lovely crates. Is there going to be that opportunity for them to get it done, though? I mean, they're currently not too contested. We did see Virtual Gaming and, of course, GQ held up within that vicinity. But I think it's going to come down to essentially what the teams are going to be able to bring in with regards to rotations. Because looking at the map, though, that entire northwestern side is pretty vacant, seeing that there are quite a few teams now applying that focus in on towards the military island itself, as we can see Stalwart now just making that crossing. So it does open up a bit of a cavity for teams to fall on through, and I'm expecting some contention to come in as the teams start rotating up. But what's interesting to note is that we're not really seeing any major focus being applied towards the bridges. I mean, Desert Flame, that is the usual spot, right? Nothing really out of the ordinary here. But I want to see what's going to be happening towards that western bridge.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm more concerned. I'm seeing a couple of teams already rushing to the military island. And this is Pubg Mobile. There's a huge chance it wouldn't go to the military island. I mean, we've seen it before. I'm looking at this zone and we cannot explicitly tell that it will go to the military island. And which is why this is where I'm trying to see that little difference of experience coming through from the teams, right? I want to see how the PNPL teams would approach this zone in comparison to how the Pmnc semi-final teams would actually approach this. And I'm saying this because, like Desert Flame, there's probably a reason why they're not even focused on the bridge right now. You know, we see some of these professional teams on zones like this, they try not to make that quick decision to cross over to the other side, because this is Pubg Mobile, is very dynamic. We don't really see the same zones repeat itself. And you know, when it comes to this type of zone, it's very tricky. And I'm still looking forward to it. I wouldn't even advise anyone to cross yet, but I would advise the teams that if you're a team, probably get somewhere close to a shoreline where you've got vehicles like Hive Mind, and then, you know, get somewhere close to the ferry pier. When you have a vehicle or like a boat, get enough gas can. If it goes to the military island, you can rotate all the way to the military island. If not, you're good, you're safe on the mainland, because if you cross to the island and it doesn't go to the island, it becomes trouble when you want to come back to the mainland.
Yeah, so it comes down to teams having to resist being impulsive with movement, right? Especially this first phase, looking at where it is, it's not been decided, as you've said, right? So you need to try and wait until you have that answer before making your decisive move. And already it seemed like Darkness, I mean, maybe they just out for a little bit of carnage, right? Maybe they just want to create a bit of an upset. As you can see, Ultra and the rest of the crew now just moving closer and closer towards that military base itself. I mean, this could be a good spot if the zone does decide to stick on towards the southern edge. But if it swings up north, I mean, they're going to have a pretty tough time then backtracking all the way back over on towards that main island.
Yeah, but then we look at the Team Darkness here. They barely have throwables, right? Not so many throwables at hand. You know, I saw a player there with no smokes, and this is where it starts to get tricky, because if you get into an engagement, these are things that you might need, right? If you're not having it, the possibility that you'll be finding those in the scrappy buildings around the military island, it's very risky, right? And even X team going all the way to the southern edge of the circle, if this circle does not go to the military island, that is going to be a whole lot of trouble for teams who are already on that island.
Yeah, 100% agree with you on that one. But we still have a minute left before we find out just how far that blue zone is going to close in. Of course, we know it's going to go all the way to the zone, but that is when the next phase will be revealed. But another interesting thing that we are seeing kind of developing here is that Darkness, they moved all the way to that southern island. We got the players from X team now just looking to accompany them all the way on that far southern edge. So that could be an interesting play. But Desert Flame, they've now used that opportunity to get themselves situated onto that eastern bridge. And I think that's going to be a really good play for them, right? Because I think that they are going to be looking to let it loose. But of course, as we jump to the north, this Team GQ now positioned up on towards Everest, just trying to see what kind of a rotational pathway they can find. And if they head straight on forward on the trajectory that they're on right now, we could potentially see them bump into the players there from Blackjack. So, yeah, who knows? There could be some excitement just around the corner.
Yeah, and it's even fun seeing that Blackjack is looking to probably head for the western side of things. You know, yesterday we saw them land around the Zaki area, and then we saw them do their rotation all the way to the east, right? But today they do look to be looking towards that western side, and it just makes me want to see how well are they going to play from the west. We've seen them play from the east well, but now from the west, will they be able to do it? And like you said, Team GQ, a very wonderful team that we've seen yesterday. Seeing them play this a little bit slowly, and that's what the case of what I said about the zone. Oh, a nightmare.
It is now. Yeah, but it is not Blackjack, rather, Desert Flame, right? Falling with their butts in the honey, right? They still are able to maintain that compound, which is essentially on that central band of our current zone. And I mean, this is prime real estate, but they are going to be experiencing a little bit of a challenge here, because seeing that it's such a good position, they now have to defend it. All our teams situated on that southern island are going to be looking to rotate up north, potentially, or maybe just to get themselves a little bit more fortified, as we still don't know where the zone's going to be going. But based on where it's gone right now, we could potentially have all that focus being brought into this eastern bridge. And this is the kind of zone that Desert Flame is all too comfortable with.
Yeah, and I hope not to see what I saw from Desert Flame yesterday. Given that they were in the center of the circle, they had a good spot, but they just did not capitalize on it, right? We didn't see them get all those elimination points. It almost just seemed like they were just chilling for all of the teams. And now today they find themselves in a very paramount spot in the circle. So I'm looking forward to seeing them actually frag out today. I do see Six God being brought back into the squad today. I don't think I saw him yesterday, and hoping to see him, you know, pull up some of his fragging abilities today. So Blackjack, I've got my eyes. Oh, sorry, Desert Flame, I've got my eyes on you.
Yeah, we did see a little bit of that Six action just yesterday. But speaking about action, right, it is going to be the players here from Smash Team, who we know from the Africa side have already been able to secure themselves that winner chicken dinner, now starting to push in towards this bridge area. And on the opposite end, that is where things are going to get a little bit sweaty, as we'll now find out where exactly Smash Team are going to be looking to go. Already they have a few players situated up on the front line alongside the players there from 911. But they've not called the emergency services just yet. Instead, it's going to be our Lelouch now, just peering across, looking to see if they can find a bit of an opportunity. But I like this 3-1 split, because if well executed, Lelouch can definitely leverage quite a bit of that position in their favor.
Yeah, especially with the new design of the bridges in PUBG Mobile. It's something that you might be able to It does look like they want all 4 of their players in the same position as they're able to successfully cross the bridge. And this is where they're in luck, right? Because they just have to be thankful now that, 911 not doing the best of jobs holding that bridge or holding this bridge camp. Right, so they're able to escape that position. Desert Flame already pulling away from the bridge, not looking to have interest in that part of the game, and that's quite interesting to see. To an extent, I'm happy about the number of teams that we have on the mainland. Right, there's only like 3 teams that are out there on that mainland, on the island still, and it almost looks like they might be able to make it through. But it's funny that none of them are going through that western bridge. Everybody wants to go in through that eastern bridge, and well, that is going to be a whole lot of trouble in the east.
Yeah, it is going to be quite a bit of trouble come through. But again, we do see why not taking aim, waiting for the angle up on towards Ultron. I mean, this is such a difficult play to make because the grass is obstructing a lot of that vision. So you can't really get a good assessment as to where that player is and whether or not the opportunity is there for a bit of that spray. But in general, Stalwart holding onto a decent angle here. I mean, they are pretty well situated on the very edge, and that does provide them a bit of an opportunity, right? Because Darkness can't just push straight on forward. They are going to get fired upon, and this could maybe play in favor then of Stalwart.
Yeah, and with that new zone going over more to that eastern edge, favoring the bridge more, this is where it starts to become troublesome because there's so many teams still alive. All teams, in fact, no team has been sent back into the lobby yet. So, man, this is going to get very, very choked up in literally a matter of seconds because everybody now wants a little piece of the circle, and there's only so much the circle can contain, given that the bridge and the water is occupying about 20% of the zone.
Yeah, but what would be crazy, right? I mean, we did see that zone now centering up on this eastern bridge, with it just slightly touching that southern position, as we can, of course, see up on the mini-map. But what is going to be absolute carnage is if the zone then moves south from where it is now, right? The next phase. Because that's going to play in favor of Darkness, Stalwart, and even the players there from X Team. But I don't know if they are prepared for what could await them, right? I mean, that influx of northern teams just pushing on forward, it is going to be so brutal. But we are going to be seeing quite a few teams now getting sent back, as we already have a few knocks getting found out there once again. But the pressure is on because this is now a heavily kind of congested area, especially up on the north. The south, I mean, it's a breeze, right? As you've pointed out, there's only 3 teams positioned on this island, and they've got a decent amount of space to work with.
Yeah, hopefully they will be able to do it. Honored Souls, on the other hand, going out one after the other as the blue zone starts to claim some lives. It's very surprising to see some of the players there from Honored Souls out there still in muted power. It's currently zone 3. I do not know what they're still doing outside. This is actually a very nice position being held by Cool Boy. I like the fact that he's not giving it out just yet, waiting for whatever the zone is going to do to kind of push the players there from Darkness onto the bridge. And then that way he can understand what they're trying to do and try to see if they can get some elimination points as the time goes on. A little bit of trouble will be looming on the northern side as many of these teams start to get closer and closer. A couple of teams chilling out there in Muta. Nice to see. Couple of teams also in the farm with Ocean on Fire, just holding, ranging over to that western side. The angle plays up for Cool Boy, and he's able to get that instant knock with the thirst to follow suit.
Yeah, but now it's going to be that pressure on the remaining players left in Darkness. As you can see, Godlike now getting hit as Cool Boy keeps the angle pretty tight. Tries to get the shots in with the M4, but with that red dot, I mean, you're not getting a nice lineup with those hits. I mean, they could still just venture off, but wow, the zone does take another swing. It now centers up on farm. And this is where it spells trouble in paradise because our team situated on the south now have to find a way back into safety. They're going to have to rotate either across the bridge or across that waterway to remain in contention for that potential winner chicken dinner. But we still have all 16 teams up here, Crowns.
Man, and this is where the military island zones become so tricky, right? Or zones that look like it was going to military island look so tricky because not too many teams are going to lose their life because a lot of teams are actually spending time on rotation, right? And man, that is what X is doing. They're still alive with 2 players up, and man, Honored Souls having just 1 player up Shroud, and he's actually trying to take this many shots. Players alive. I don't know now. I don't really think that is something he should be doing because right now he's giving away his position. He's in Muta. He's got a lot of rotation to do into the circle. As a solo, I don't know, man. There's one too many teams in this lobby, and we'll soon start to see, action going on that eastern side. Given that now there's no longer any breach on the circle, and now all the whole of the circle is just centered on.
Yeah, I mean, Honored Souls definitely will get shrouded in that blue if they are not proactive with their rotations. But Cool Boy just comes in clutch again, picks up the knock onto what Skyto now has to jump off of that bridge. But Sugar, in the meantime, from the side there of Hivemind, is getting a little bit of attention as we can see Evo Station this time around. I mean, pretty close finish to where we had it just end yesterday, right? Yesterday, it was situated just on the opposite end, a little bit more towards the eastern side. So curious to see what is going to come through here and who's going to be laying in and laying waste to the opponents up ahead. I mean, as we saw yesterday, right? Evo Station, more than capable of bringing in a few of those upsets. But is it going to be on the cards this time? As we can see, Narcos cooking up the nades, sending it out, trying to just keep the players there from the GQ at bay for the time being, while the reinforcements looks to get themselves a little bit more shuffled up.
Yeah, and looking at the way Hivemind is handling this, I'm enjoying it. A little bit of patience coming through on their side. And this is not something we saw too much yesterday. But we see them actually being very much patient today. But now that that intro knock has come through from the side of GQ, I want to see how well Hivemind is going to play, going for the revive now, which is nice. I just want to see that they're not getting, disoriented by the knocks that are coming in through, right? So seeing them actually going, a little bit slow on this one is nice to see. But Team GQ, definitely not a small team. I was about to say we're having a water party and Ocean on fire, definitely are getting fired in the ocean as Unex. This is going to be the next man to find himself into the lobby, as X Team will be claiming some of those elimination points for themselves.
I mean, one thing we can say about Unex is at least they came dressed accordingly, right? They knew that they were going to go take a splash in the water, and that's why they wore what they wore. But now, it is going to be war on this western side as we have Hivemind and GQ still going at things. Of course, a few vehicles getting exploded right there, just trying to bring in that mobile hardcover. But is it going to be sufficient as we still have all 16 teams? I mean, we are nearly 19 minutes into this match. And looking at the positions here, I got to say, the Federalians are, well, they were center zone. Now they still find themselves just barely on the edge of it. But now it's going to be that mass migration, right? A lot of teams situated, especially on towards the eastern side, are going to be looking for a bit of a play. And this is where the opportunity presents itself for teams to just lock in elims all over the place. I mean, even 90th minute, looking to find a bit of ground to stand on. But they don't have all that much. Instead, they look on as Darkness, 911, and of course, they're the players there from Stalwart get ready for a little bit of the action.
Yeah, and I don't think there's a spot you'd stay in this next circle, or even anywhere on the map right now, where you do not have the potential of shots coming your way. And your 98 minutes, bringing in Watson into the roster today, nice to see. But they find themselves very close to the side there from Wavy Sports. Federalians, like you said, holding up a very wonderful position on that northeastern edge of the circle. It's not a question of how well they'll be able to play that position. They've got beautiful compound to play with, a couple of ridges in front of them where they can get laded from. But I believe it's something that they could handle if they're able to, watch their sides, keep on with their angles, and stay on with consistency. 911 coming in through, but they've got to be thankful for Federalians who are helping them with the third party of the century.
I mean, Hamodi being presented with players on a silver platter right then and there, but shows that trigger discipline. You know what? It might look all good and great, but we'll wait to see what it is that they're going to be doing instead. And now continues to play the position here. Looks on at Stalwart. Now gets ahead. We got Wave in the mix. We do see one of the 90th minute players there, Bisk, also now getting taken on down. Watson is also then getting traded up, and this spells quite a bit of trouble. But Wave now feeling the pressure as the rush is on, and it's all now down to Yaya, who's trying to find a position up in zone. As you can see, Brute Force, they have occupied the compound. This could be the end for Allah. Let's see, is it going to be on the cards? Oh, the flames getting so close. But up comes Neos, and that is the end of the road, picking up the third elimination now for Brute Force.
Brute Force already getting himself onto a good start. You can already see them getting comfortable with the lobby. Already 3 eliminations up, and they look to still be strong as a 4-man team. Blackjack Esports getting taken out on rotation on that northern edge as things began to get choked up. With Desert Flame getting so many shots going through their way. And man, this is just so chaotic right now. So Smash Team, they did get crashed by the side of 911. It's not a question of how well 911 will be able to hold up in that fight on that short.
Oh, we'll find out soon enough. But Evo Station is going to be in a great position here. Want to see what they'll be able to do. They are getting pushed on by the players there from Virtual Gaming Squad, and they are definitely laying into them. But now, will they be able to bounce back from this as the blue zone is about to close on through? We're going to be seeing where that sixth phase will be taking us. And it does seem like it stays over on towards the western side. And that is a blessing now for Team GQ, as they are going to be receiving quite a bit of pressure. We got the Hive Mind just holding on to that southern edge of zone. But meanwhile, all the way back towards the eastern edge, it is going to be the Federalians. We got players there from Brute Force, as well as the Smash team. We got X team and Stalwart. And then you add a little bit of that darkness just sprinkled on top. But let's see whether or not Stalwart will be able to get off that beach and position back into zone.
Definitely, it's anyone way out to do the scouting on the eastern side. Has to find a way to form up on his teammate now. That's what he's. But I feel like if I'm Desert Flame, play the 3-1 split generously, as he doesn't play out, Kraken does get spotted. And I was just about to say, the fight on that southern building has to happen anytime soon. There's like 4 teams out there in that southern building, and they have to get away from that building. But GQ already looking to have a wonderful start also, with 5 eliminations already up to them. As strong as ever.
Oh, but look at that quick sneaky hit. What a great angle that was going through from Godlike. The final contender left for the Study of Darkness, but that is it as the light shines on them. Evo Station are looking to rip it up as the Federalians come pushing on forward. Hamadi in a very compromised angle, but up comes the nade. That is it. What a phenomenal hit that was, as the Hive Mind team just pops it on over, looking to close it up and dealing quite a bit of damage into GQ. Now, they have to try and find a way to get back. Miracle is going to be sneaking their way on through. I see Lelouch coming through with a bit of a bounce up ahead. And this is the opportunity for Miracle now to make some magic happen. But there is a wall standing between them and that reach. Oh, let's keep an eye on the feed. Is it going to happen? No. Yes, they do get it. Now it's going to be Ilias and Ban also now looking to push on forward, looking to bring their teammate back in. And this is the opportunity that Miracle has been waiting for. Finds the angle on Ban, does not get the knock, pushes in again, gets the one. Oh, but it is going to be Supra to stop them in their tracks.
The third party definitely imminent, as there were 3 teams down there in that compound. But we pull over right now to the side of Team GQ. You can just see them prone in the grass, as there's only so much you can do in this game. If you stand up, the odds of you getting taken out gets higher and higher. Desert Flame did get taken out to the center of the circle. Virtual Gaming Squad looking strong out there on that noise. Looking at pretty much everyone in the circle, but the Federalians find themselves in so much trouble, as now they only have those smoke grenades to use as cover for themselves today.
Oh, but look at that though. It is going to be Savage to get traded on down. It is Yazan rather, trying to hold on, seeing if they can maybe pitch themselves up. Up comes the knock onto a Dan, but look at this Evo Station just ripping it up once again. Hamadi is going to be the final remaining hopeful now for the Federalians, as Danzo gets confirmed, and the pressure definitely on. It is now. Ooh, this could take a bit of a swing as AZ been spotted. Oh, the angles come in. Is it going to be it? They drop down and are able to evade the spray for the time being. But oh, Brute Force coming in with a third party.
And I say, this game is so chaotic. There is action in every single angle. And now things are beginning to slow down. But Evil Station, an absolute monster for that Team GQ. And he is continuing to do the work. 9 eliminations already for the squad. Same thing can be said about Brute Force, who are holding up with 9. But they've only got 2 players left. Virtual Gaming Squad, Yazan has to hold it up as the last man for his team. As now is the point where everyone can actually take that leader. And if I am a team at this point, here's the time where you sit down, go back, relax, calm down a little bit, but it does look like Brute Force and not having that. Looking for AZ, able to find the photo shoot. 11 eliminations onto the side there. Brute Force, they do seem to have found their future, and they are letting all of the teams in the lobby know about it.
Well, that was a beautiful spray. Now it is down to Prepod to see if they can get their teammate back into the fight. I mean, already they've been able to secure themselves 11 eliminations. So Brute Force doing quite a bit of magic right here, but still quite a few teams left to contest for these positions. Hive Mind, actually the team holding on to the strongest numbers. And as we can see, right, they are trying to just make that play, looking to sneak their way up into towards the zone. But Brute Force just going to be lying in wait on that very edge. Already a few hits starting to find their way across. But up comes GQ. Ooh, a bit of a snake in the grass. 9 elims up. Oh, look at the weapon as well. Oh, that is going to be a beast, but it's not going to survive though.
That is exactly what the side of Brute Force needed. They needed GQ to come in for the third party and distract the side of Hive Mind, and that distraction is exactly what they wanted. And you can see them already sending that full send. They know there's one more player left. They have a 3-man up. They have an idea of where that last player is. And if I am Brute Force right now, I'm pushing up onto Hive Mind, focus on the last player of Virtual Gaming Squad leader, and that is exactly what they've got in mind. Preferred going in, gets one, gets two, and now Yazan will be the last player left in the way for Brute Force and their first winner chicken dinner. Yesterday, they were almost able to seal the last game, having so many eliminations up on board that they did not. But today, it's looking like it might just be their game for the taking. A 1v2, Yazan, are you capable?